Should I use trekking poles while hiking or backpacking? That's a question I get all the time. This one's all about trekking poles. Let's get right into it. So is it worth it to try using trekking poles on a hike if you've never done it before? I'm sure if you've never used it before, you might be pondering the idea. You know, it's not just all about looking cool on the trail, but it's actually about helping your body. I read something a long time ago that stuck with me, and it talked about how they basically help the longevity of your legs and joints. So basically what you're doing is you're taking a leg workout when you're just using solely legs walking down a trail for, let's say, 10 miles, and you're adding an upper body workout with that. So you're going to kind of burn more calories, and it's actually going to be more of a workout. But is it worth it to you to save some of your leg strength and use some of your upper body that really isn't getting used while backpacking or hiking? To me, I think it really helps a lot. I don't know the exact percentage, but it takes a lot of weight off of your legs, putting weight onto the poles. And I know myself, when I'm climbing up hills, I'm putting a lot of pressure with my arms. That's taking all that pressure off of my legs. And it also it's good for joints. Let's say you're bombing a downhill section and gravity just wants to take you. It's just, you can kind of stick them out in front and it'll kind of hold you up a little bit. So trails with elevation, that's when you should be using trekking poles. Like I said, with the gravity, it helps when you're going down, and it helps maybe even more going up because you can use your upper body to help pull yourself up the hill. Basically, if you think about it, you take one pole, stick it in the dirt in front of you, you now have hand grips that you can pull yourself up the hill. So every single time I plant that thing in front of me, I'm pulling myself with it. My first few trips, I didn't use trekking poles, and once I did, I never went back. A lot of times you'll see me in videos not hiking with them, and that's just because I YouTube. It's just because I like to have my hands free. Granted, I don't carry the camera the whole time, but if it's clipped on me, I like to be able to just grab it and film and whatnot and not have to like set my poles somewhere. If I didn't have a camera on me, if I wasn't a YouTuber, I would definitely hike with trekking poles the entire time. And they're even beneficial while walking on flat ground. If you use proper trekking pole technique, which a lot of people don't, and that's fine if you don't want to. My wife, I always tell her she should be using them differently, but she's just fine the way she uses them. And you know, whatever helps you, that's all that matters. I'm not gonna get like triggered if I see somebody using their poles wrong. But I mean, they're there for when you need them. They're there for comfort. So basically, if you're walking on flat terrain when you normally would think trekking poles aren't needed, they still are beneficial, because what you do is, instead of walking with the pole out in front of you and letting it hit the ground at this angle, what you do is you put it right beside your feet when you plant it. And you plant it at kind of an angle like this. So then every single time I put the pole down, I can thrust myself forward, rather than if I'm just walking like this and I put the pole out front, it kind of stops my momentum. You want to push behind you and then bring it up right beside your legs. And then whenever you put it in the dirt angled forward like this, I'll bring up a clip to show you how I do it. It just propels you forward. So it definitely, I think proper technique really helps. Once I learned the proper way to use them, I always use them for benefit. Even if I'm not tired, even if I'm on a flat trail, I'm always propelling myself forward with those things. So let's talk about different trekking poles and different weights of trekking poles. The entry-level trekking pole that everyone gets, I can't say everyone, but a lot of people get this. It's what I started out with. This is Walmart Outdoor Products. They're pretty cheap, maybe 20 or 30 bucks for a pair of these. Definitely a trekking pole that will get you started if you want to, test them out without breaking the bank. This is something you might want to consider. They're a little bit heavier than other options. This is actually a 10.8 ounce trekking pole, so a little bit heavier in the grand scheme of trekking poles. Moving up the line here, I have a Field and Stream trekking pole, which is a little bit nicer quality. It's got an anti-shock absorber. I'm not a fan of anything with shock. I don't know why you would want to hit the ground and put your energy into a shock. I'm kind of like that with bikes too. I don't like bikes with shocks. If I want to propel my energy up over a jump, I don't want to lose my energy in a spring. So basically, I like the rigid ones. with no shock absorbers. I think it's just kind of a gimmick. You don't really need that, except it might be good if you maybe have bad joints or bad wrists or bad ankles or something like that. The shock absorber might help. So this is a little bit lighter than the Outdoor Products pool. I'm not sure what these run for, but they are definitely a little bit higher quality. So let's go to pretty much the top of the line here. This is the Gossamer Gear LT5. I say top of the line because it's super expensive. These are $100 a piece. They're carbon fiber. They weigh 5 ounces, which is, I mean, that's half of that first trekking pole I showed you. So the weight difference between these is really crazy. Like I said, I don't use trekking poles all the time, but if there's big climbs, big elevation, I will get them out for that. And also, my tent doesn't have tent poles. It utilizes trekking poles, so I need them for my tent. So I got trekking poles that as a pair weigh 10 ounces because I usually hike with them on my back. If you're planning on using them all the time, which most people that don't film are, you really don't need light ones. I will say that, you know, the first trip I did a few days with them, and once I got them in my hands, I hardly put them back in my backpack. Gossamer Gear LT5s, they are having some trouble. I'm not the first person, I'm not the second person. I've heard a lot of people that have broke these things. This was solely user error. I would like to say it wasn't. I would have been fine if they broke when I was just using them properly, because I've been watching so many videos where people have had problems with them, and mine were doing really, really well, and I wedged it between a rock and I slipped, so all of my weight just pivoted right on the point and snapped it like a toothpick. So this was definitely my fault. I do plan on repairing it. You can get the sections of these, but they're still like $50 a section. I just haven't ordered it yet, but I will repair that and probably use these. However, I'm going on a trip here within the next couple of weeks, and like I said, I haven't ordered that yet. So this company actually contacted me, wanted to send me this carbon fiber trekking pole, and I get a lot of offers for you know, cheaper companies wanting to send me gear, and 9 times out of 10 I'll tell them no. I just don't want it. I've actually only ever had like maybe, I don't know, 5 or 6 companies send me free gear out of like the hundreds of emails I get. They just got a hold of me at the right time. They actually watched my Timberline video where I broke my carbon trekking pole, and they saw an opportunity there to send me these, and they initially wanted me to do a review on it. I tell every company I can't guarantee a review. I said that they might be in videos, they might not. I'm not gonna lie about them just because I got them for free. So they just got to me at the right time, because I've been wanting to make a trekking pole video for a while. These weigh 7.1 ounce. This is the I'm not even gonna try to pronounce this. TAC9ER. I don't know if it's TAC9er, but it's a cheap brand. I'll put the link to this and all the other ones down in the description below if you guys want to go check them out. But these run about, I think, $60, $70 a pair. Pretty lightweight. It's a completely different style trekking pole. Most of them are telescoping here, where you twist and pull, and then you twist it again the other way to lock it. Most hiking poles are like that. Now these are actually more designed like what people run with. A lot of ultra marathoners run with trekking poles that have this kind of fold mechanism. Let's see if I can get it. These are new, I just got them. But basically, yeah, they fold up like that. They're pretty convenient. I like I said, I haven't used these. I just got these in the mail, but I'm gonna take them out on my next trip I do to give them a try, because I mean, they're cheap. If you don't want to spend $200 on trekking poles, which I don't blame you if you don't, the only reason I did is because I go backpacking a lot. I have a lot of camera gear I bring that's actually kind of heavy, so I'm willing to spend extra money on super lightweight gear. I'm not real good at these yet since I just got them, but basically, if you shove these in like that, you pull this last one out, and whenever you pull that till it clicks, and that pulls tension on that cord, so these can no longer pull out anymore until I release this first section, and then it allows it to pull out. So super quick. So basically $60 for 7-ounce poles, 200 for 5-ounce poles. That's only 4 ounces heavier as a pair than the super expensive ones. There's also a lot of other companies that make carbon fiber poles that are a little bit heavier than the Gossamer gears. I'm pretty sure those are the lightest, like, telescoping pole on the market. But Lecky makes ones. I know there's some other cheap carbon fiber brands that people have had a lot of luck with. I think anything lighter than like 8 ounces is a pretty lightweight pole. You really can't go wrong with that. I was thinking that these were going to be a little bit heavier feeling in my hands, but they're not bad. I'm actually really excited to use them. And this first section here has got a quick lock, kind of like a quick release bike seat. So, but yeah, it's got a quick lock, so I can just make my length adjustments with this top piece right here. That's kind of my thoughts on trekking poles here. One more note, I don't use the baskets on the end. See, they sent me a couple baskets here. The smaller baskets are for mud, and the bigger ones are for snow. I could see these being useful if you're really post-holing bad. I've never felt the need for these because they kind of just get stuck under rocks if you're going through real rocky sections. But I will say that I needed them to set my tarp up, using my trekking poles last time. A lot of times I'll run my cord around here and it kind of holds. Well, if you don't have a basket on there, there's nothing to hold the guy line out to hold my tarp up. So I actually borrowed my buddy Nate's poles to set my tarp up with. But other than that, I never bring baskets. And something else I don't ever bring are these little rubber covers for the end of the pole. I think if you're doing like a trail that has just a ton of concrete or road walk, these are good to save the tips because the tips kind of wear down on the end of these. But other than that, I never use these. They're actually kind of heavy and it's just pointless, so you can just chuck those things. One more thing also I want to talk about are the straps. You put your hand through here. Basically, and it's kind of nice sometimes when you have them adjusted. You can kind of take some, kind of hold it with your whole wrist. It kind of becomes a full unit rather than just like wobbly in your hand. And sometimes they're nice to use. The Gossamer gear straps here are really, really small. They're really super comfortable. I actually use them just because they're so comfortable sometimes, but I don't use straps because you get your pole stuck in a rock, you'll pretty much rip your hand off, and I've done it several times. So I don't use the straps at all, which brings me to these new ones I have. They're really thin, kind of crappy straps, which is nice in a good way because it still functions as a strap and it's super lightweight. They're not going to really add any weight. I guarantee you these are lighter straps than all these other ones. But I won't be using them. I might actually even take them off. The only reason you see in my videos that my poles all have the straps is because whenever I attach these to my backpack, my bottom compression strap, I run through the strap and then tight up so it holds it in. Basically, if I didn't have a strap, it'd just be compression on the side and they could potentially slip out the bottom. So I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to talk about with you guys about trekking poles. I guess to wrap things up, can you get away with cheaper ones that are heavier? Yeah, I think it's one of the areas in backpacking where you can definitely go cheap. You don't have to break the bank. Expensive backpacks and tents and stuff, they're really, really expensive. And some of the cheaper ones are either just bad quality or super heavy. Trekking poles, you can pretty much get away with anything. That about does it. It's been a long time since I put up videos like this. I've honestly been getting a little burnout on YouTube. I mean, I still love doing it and everything, but I'm not gonna just talk about random stupid things that I don't want to talk about. So unless like an idea comes into my head like this, something that I actually feel like I have some value in talking about, I'm not going to make videos like that. But I'm still going to keep making videos, so thanks for your patience with me and the lack of content lately. So a little update, I do have 1 or 2 trips coming up. One of them's pretty sweet. I'm really excited about it. And it's going to be a good one, so you're definitely going to want to stick around, check that out. Hit the subscribe button. It's right, actually, is it down here or here? I'm not sure. It says subscribe. Just click that button, and it will tell you whenever I upload that video. and you're going to want to check that out because it's going to be pretty cool. Leave a comment down below if you have any questions or even just general comments about trekking poles. I'd love to hear it because honestly, I don't know everything about trekking poles. I just, this is just stuff that I've learned over the years from using them, in my opinions. That about does it. So check back, subscribe, leave a comment, and I'll see you on the next one.